Thank you for joining us for another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Theodore Henry. Sports and health take the spotlight in today's show. First on the agenda, improvements to the National Stadium.
People go to the stadium not just to watch a football match or to watch a netball match, but it now becomes a social area, the center of entertainment and sporting activities in Kingston.
Also,
we're all at risk for sudden cardiac death, so we need to know our numbers and our status. What is your blood pressure? Do you know what your blood pressure is? Do you know what your cholesterol is?
Those and much more are coming up after the news of the day. Jamaica comes alive for Jamaica 55. The Jamaica Information Service is inviting primary, secondary, and tertiary students to catch the vibes and join in the celebration by participating in this year's staging of the JIS Heritage Competition. Primary and prep school children, ages 9 to 12, enter the essay competition and tell us how you would want to see Jamaica in 55 years. High schoolers, enter the poster competition. Show us your artistic interpretations of Jamaica throughout her 55 years in a poster titled Jamaica 55. Posters may be designed digitally or illustrated. Zoom, click, snap. Yes, tertiary students, the photo competition is back. Capture an image that best represents Jamaica 55. For more information on the competition rules and how to submit entries, visit the JIS website at www.jis.gov.jm. You may also send an email to heritageessay@jis.gov.jm, heritageposter@jis.gov.jm, or heritagephoto@jis.gov.jm, or call us at 926-3590-4. The deadline for all entries is October 31, 2017. So ready, set, go for prizes galore. JIS Heritage Competition 2017, celebrating Jamaica 55.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, September 13. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the Joint Command met its operational outcomes and accountability procedures during the first phase of activities in the Mount Salem Zone of Special Operation. The Prime Minister was updating Parliament Tuesday on the Joint Command's report into its first 10 days of activities.
Though it is early in the implementation of the first zone, the signs for peace and transformation of Mount Salem are positive. This is the first step, and it will yield tremendous benefits for Jamaica and all Jamaicans.
The report was submitted to the National Security Council for its review in line with the stipulations of the law. Mr. Holness told Parliament that it points to 2 wanted men being taken into custody and 5 illegal guns recovered. Lead sheets used in lottery scamming were also seized.
The next 10 days will see the continuation of internal security operations to rid the zone of illegal weapons, ammunition, and contraband.
The Mount Salem Zone of Special Operation is expected to last until Monday, October 30, at which time the Prime Minister may seek an extension. In the meantime, Prime Minister Holness says community engagement and social intervention activities have been ongoing in Mount Salem. He says the joint forces have held community meetings with residents to discuss job opportunities, community development, and social intervention. The Social Development Commission and the Mount Salem Community Development Council have also been in dialogue to institute parenting, after-school, infrastructure, and capacity-building programs. Reintegration of unattached youth in the education system is also being carried out. And the National Works Agency has conducted an assessment of roads and other thoroughfares in the area.
On Sunday, I met with the executives of the NWA, and we have reserved some funds to immediately begin addressing roads, drainage, and where possible, Mr. Speaker, to deal with some beautification within the area.
The National Water Commission and the National Energy Solutions Limited have also visited the zone to work with residents to regularize electricity and water connections. And Prime Minister Holness says a sanitation program will be instituted in Mount Salem and its environs.
I've had discussions with the Minister of Local Government and with the head of the NSWA, and a program will be put in place very shortly to clean up the community, to take up all the garbage that is in the community.
Still in Parliament, Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie says the local Sub-Regional Coordination Centre has been activated to assist with recovery efforts for neighbouring countries affected by Hurricane Irma. Mr. McKenzie told the Lower House on Tuesday that the Local Coordination Centre was set up following discussions with the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, CDEMA. It's tasked with securing and making logistical arrangements for transportation of relief supplies and manpower to the affected islands. The Coordination Centre is also facilitating movement of humanitarian workers, including a 16-member United Nations team, to the Turks and Caicos Islands.
The provisions of logistic support, securing and transporting relief to the Turks and Caicos Islands and the Bahamas, which includes, Mr. Speaker, roofing supplies, water, kits, and food items.
Mr. McKenzie says the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management is pursuing the deployment of a specialist team to carry out rapid needs assessment of the Turks and Caicos Islands and the Bahamas. In the meantime, the Foreign Affairs Ministry has been working with its High Commission Office in Port of Spain, Trinidad, and the Consulate in Turks and Caicos to ascertain the impact of the hurricane on Jamaicans in affected territories. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett has leveraged his position as chairman of the United Nations World Tourism Organization's Board of Affiliate Members to appeal for aid for Caribbean islands recently devastated by Hurricane Irma. Minister Bartlett says aid will most likely come from the UNWTO Sustainable Tourism Eliminating Poverty Initiative Foundation. This foundation promotes poverty alleviation through the provision of assistance to sustainable development projects in developing countries. While expressing deep sympathies to those impacted by Irma, Minister Bartlett thanked the UNWTO for pledging to assist in rebuilding the tourism industry in the affected countries. The minister will this week be in China along with over 1,000 tourism officials for the 22nd session of the World Tourism Organization General Assembly. He will use the assembly to appeal to affiliate members for further assistance to affected countries. And finally, 27 ministries, departments, and agencies of government have received a gender equality certification. Minister responsible for gender affairs, Olivia Grange, says the move is part of government's strategic action to address gender-based violence, inequality, and discrimination in the country.
The fact that we were able to certify these entities is an indication that we have been diligently pursuing our gender equality initiatives, including gender training, gender mainstreaming, monitoring, and evaluation, which are outlined in our 2011 National Policy for Gender Equality.
Minister Grange was addressing a recent gender forum organized by the Inter-American Development Bank. She explained that the National Strategic Action Plan, which was recently approved by Cabinet, sets out a 10-year program to be implemented across government with specific targets towards eliminating gender-related violence. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Let's celebrate Jamaica to the world. Fastest man in the world. First Jamaican woman to win gold in Olympic 100-meter sprint. An upcoming global superstar. Mouth-watering meals. And a vibrant set of people. We are Jamaicans. Let's get together and bring back the love.
No conversation about sports in Jamaica would be complete without mentioning the National Stadium. It was built in 1962, and the stadium has provided a space for our athletes to shine before taking to the international stage. Now plans are on the way to improve this national treasure. Listen up.
It is the venue for national sporting activities and major events. Fondly called The Office by local sports fans, the National Stadium is earmarked for major redevelopment under the Jamaica 55 Legacy Projects Initiative. The objective of the Jamaica 55 National Stadium redevelopment is to provide Jamaica with a first-class modern sport venue. When the project is completed, it is expected that the National Stadium will host mega events such as the IAAF Diamond League meets and FIFA CONCACAF tournaments, as well as concert tours, conventions and mass meetings that are usually held at world-class stadia across the globe.
The minister has announced what we call a bidding team led by the Honorable Mike Fennell, and we're going to put the people with the expertise on it so we can go there and go after in an aggressive way and in a very meaningful way these international games.
Before the country can host those international events, a few shortcomings need to be addressed, like limited seating of only 31,000 and partial covering of the grandstand area.
Right now, we fail most of the tests that our international sporting bodies put on what is required in our infrastructure to stage major international sports.
The stadium also needs improved security, emergency exits, dedicated access for VIPs, players and officials, and better medical facilities, media broadcast booths and concession stands. Also, a purpose-built secure doping testing area for athletes.
In what they call an athlete exclusion zone. Right now, what we have is a makeshift arrangement which Ward has said, yes, it's not too bad, but it's not ideally where it ought to be.
The redevelopment of the National Stadium contains 9 major changes to the office. The Bleachers section, located east of the grandstand, is to be demolished and replaced with a modern all-seater stand extending to trackside. The upper north and south bleacher will be upgraded with a modern all-seater stand, complete with concessions, public toilets, security and first aid stations. A new trackside service area and energy-efficient lighting are also in the plans. A state-of-the-art wireless communication system will be installed, and the grandstand will be upgraded to include a better VIP area, additional concessions, toilets, and trackside seating.
If we're going to be serious and treat sports not just as recreation, but look at the business of sports and what it can do for us in terms of national development, real economic returns from sports, we have to have the right infrastructure.
So added to the plans is a first-rate venue operating center, proper gate management, security staging areas, first aid centers, maintenance facility, and a sport equipment and operational storage area. Leading into the stadium itself,
we are improving on what we call Statue Square, which is right in front of the National Stadium. When they come there, to be able to buy miniature statues of the Usain statue. You must have an ice cream kiosk that people can come on a Sunday afternoon, buy ice cream and 2 hamburgers and then take the picture and go home. And people go to the stadium not just to watch a football match or to watch a netball match, but it now becomes a social area, the center of entertainment and sporting activities in Kingston. We now have a development plan. The price tag on it is $45 million to get it done.
The redevelopment work is being conducted in 4 phases and should be completed by the year 2022. So, just as our athletes have achieved global fame, if government has its way, the place where many began their journey to stardom will also become world-renowned.
So it becomes a modern stadium, and that's our aim, that's our vision, that is going to be achieved.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
One of the institutions responsible for driving sports development in the country is the G.C. Foster College of Physical Education and Sport. Let's stop by to see what this college has to offer.
conditioning the body and mind, contributing to holistic development. This can be your experience at the G.C. Foster College of Physical Education and Sport, the only institution of its kind in the English-speaking Caribbean.
There was a growing need to establish an institution, a training institution, to educate and train teachers of physical education and sport and coaches. GC Foster not only fulfilled the mandate locally, but we are now reaching international countries. We are not just known as the home of world-class coaches, but we're producing world-class athletes as well.
The institution uses state-of-the-art equipment, including a new 400 meters track donated by the Sport Development Foundation, and international comparable training techniques and technology to teach the importance of physical literacy and sport, opening doors for careers in multiple fields, from event management, massage therapy to fitness instruction. The institution offers various levels of education, from certificate to postgraduate.
There are quite a few programs that we do offer that you'd call not necessarily conventional programs. We try to get the students optimally rounded so they can introduce different sporting activities to the students when they go out in the world of work.
Students are given the opportunity to hone and shape what is learned in theory through practical exercises in the various facilities provided for multiple sporting disciplines. For the past 36 years, the G.C. Foster College of Physical Education and Sport, with its well-trained staff, has been providing Jamaica and the world with physical education and sports specialists.
G.C. Foster laid the foundation for a scientific understanding of the sports and its various disciplines, track and field, football, volleyball, basketball, and so on. It also laid the foundation for emotional support in terms of understanding human behavior, learning how to deal with situations that are quite common to group dynamics.
The college facilitated my preparation as a referee because of the numerous fields, so I use it to train to keep up my fitness level.
It's not very easy over here, but it basically helps you to become a mentally and physically tough person.
Nothing in life comes easy, and you have to work whatever it is that you want. They have given me the platform to train and education and to work. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity that they have blessed me with.
At the G.C. Foster College of Physical Education and Sport, you can find your place on the field, track, court, in the pool, ring, over the table, across the net, or at the front of the class. The G.C. Foster College of Physical Education and Sport, a world-class training institution.
More life.
More memories.
More moments.
Jamaica Moves is a call to action to prevent non-communicable diseases. Get active, eat healthy. You can protect yourself from high blood pressure, obesity, asthma, certain cancer diseases, and more.
As you heard in the PSA, there are many benefits to being physically active, and yet some of us are still not exercising as much as we should. So where to start? Well, small is good. Start by doing 5 minutes and then build up your time. To sneak in some time for exercise, wake up a little earlier than you normally would. To keep motivated, set fitness or weight loss goals and give yourself a treat when you have achieved them. Another tip, do activities that you genuinely like. When you enjoy your workout, you're more likely to stick with it. So get moving to see an increase in your mood, an increase in your energy level, and a decrease in your chances of getting a non-communicable disease. A healthy population will help to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. Before starting any physical routine, you should ensure that your body is ready and you won't do more harm than good. Sometimes there are conditions that we are susceptible to but are not aware of, such as sudden cardiac arrest. Find out more about this ailment next.
You're up and about going through your routine activities. Suddenly, you collapse without warning. Your heart stops beating, and within seconds, you stop breathing. A quick check shows there's no pulse. All signs of sudden cardiac arrest. Sudden cardiac arrest, SCA, is a condition in which the heart unexpectedly stops beating. When this happens, blood stops flowing to the brain and other vital organs. The person may die if not treated within minutes.
So the way you decide if they're having sudden cardiac arrest is, in addition to seeing if they're conscious, calling to them and seeing if there's any response, you need to feel for a pulse. So you'd feel at the neck, at the angle of the jaw, or you could listen for the heartbeat by putting your ear to the patient's chest. You need to see if they're breathing. So if they're not breathing, they have no pulse, then they're in cardiac arrest.
SCA is not to be confused with a heart attack, which happens when blood flow to the heart is blocked. However, a heart attack can lead to sudden cardiac arrest. Another way to look at it is, a heart attack is a circulation problem, while sudden cardiac arrest is an electrical one. The immediate cause of most SCAs is an abnormal heart rhythm as the electrical activities of the heart becomes chaotic and the heart is unable to pump blood to the rest of the body.
We're all at risk for sudden cardiac death, so we need to know our numbers and our status. What is your blood pressure? Do you know what your blood pressure is? Do you know what your cholesterol is? So we might be a walking time bomb and we don't know. It's not just people who appear healthy who are at risk. Somebody can be overweight and you say, oh, they're bound to drop down, but somebody who is thin can drop down as well. It just depends what the other risk factors are. So I just think the only way we can know is to know your numbers, know your status.
Among the conditions that trigger sudden cardiac arrest is coronary artery disease, a more common cause in persons over 35 years old. Also, cardiomyopathy, in which the heart muscle becomes enlarged or thick and weak, as well as inherited disorders that may cause parts of the heart to stretch and become weak. Other conditions include disorders of the heart's electrical system, as well as heart defects that were exhibited at birth. Persons who have a family history of sudden cardiac arrest or heart disease are also at risk. In contrast to elderly persons, cases of SCA is not prevalent in children.
But the children can be born with some types of heart disease that make them have a higher risk for sudden cardiac arrest. That is usually picked up if they have, sometimes at birth, because of the abnormalities, but even if they're corrected, they can still have an increased risk of sudden cardiac arrest.
Highlighted cases of SCA in student athletes in recent years prompted increased focus on evaluation for the physically active.
I would like to encourage all parents, if you have a child who is involved in any team sport, any physical activity, or even a lot of physical activity, and if they're not on a team, to please have your child checked. Carry them for sudden cardiac arrest screening. We have it at the Heart Foundation. We can come island-wide, or go to your GP and have your child tested.
A victim of sudden cardiac arrest can survive with the quick action of a bystander who is able to apply immediately cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR.
You will start resuscitative efforts, which would include compressing the chest in order to get the heart going. You may or may not breathe for them. Nowadays, it is not, a lot of bystanders balk at starting CPR because they don't want to put their mouth on the patient's mouth. And I mean, that's a real concern. Studies were done a couple years ago and they determined that compression-only CPR, so just pressing on the chest alone, is of value.
If available, an automated external defibrillator, AED, can be used within a few minutes to restore a normal rhythm to the heart. These may be available at certain places such as airports, stadiums, and other public and business places.
If someone has developed chest pain, they've grabbed their chest, they've sank to their, sank down on the ground because they're having chest pain or they're not breathing properly, you don't start CPR for that. They need to get to medical attention immediately, but you would only start CPR if the patient is pulseless and not breathing.
Following that bit of first intervention, which must take place within the first 4 to 5 minutes of sudden cardiac arrest, the patient will need to be moved immediately to a hospital. The Ministry of Health since 1996 has been partnering with the Ministry of Local Government through the Jamaica Fire Brigade to expand its provision of pre-hospital service.
We recognize that transportation of patients to hospital is a vital part of the chain of survival. Certainly from the patient suffers an incident to the point at which they reach hospital and get care, the transportation to hospital is important. And not only in terms of the time that it takes, but also in terms of the support that is provided during that transport.
You're supposed to have a defibrillator on the ambulance. You're supposed to have basic drugs which a trained paramedic would be able to administer to continue advanced cardiac life support. And when they get to the hospital, which would have been alerted from the ambulance that we're bringing in a cardiac arrest victim, the team would be waiting at the door of the hospital to receive this patient.
Based on the value of CPR in saving a life, the Ministry of Health has been partnering with the Heart Foundation of Jamaica to encourage more Jamaicans to get trained in CPR. And this important life skill is everybody's business, so get trained and be ready to lend a hand when the need arises.
Slow down, drivers, you're moving too fast. Listen, we drive the cars don't drive us. So watch it now. Pay attention to the road rules, don't be a fool, and don't bother with the careless overtaking. Just take your time on our Jamaica road and make we have a nice place. See? This is Taurus Riley, your singer, the recording artist. Help me to save lives.
The Ministry of Education, Youth and Information is committed to ensuring that every Jamaican child has the best learning environment to thrive and needs your cooperation to make the education system work successfully. That is why we are ensuring that all Jamaicans have full access to secondary education. Tuition is free of cost to you, but the government can't pay for everything, so do continue with your voluntary contributions. These contributions cover the expenses of co-curricular and sports activities and school development projects. We have also increased our support for PATH students. That's right, PATH students are not expected to make contributions, and they will be provided with 5 days of free lunches. We know that a hungry child cannot learn. The ministry has implemented a literature book rental program, free insurance and IDs for PATH students in high schools. This government cares for you. We believe that every child can learn. Every child must learn.
And this is where we close another chapter of Jamaica Magazine, but our story continues online. Visit our YouTube page or our website to watch other episodes of the show. We value your feedback, so send us an email or drop us a message on our Facebook page. I'm Theodore Henry, and on behalf of the entire production crew, do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.